back to another video, and we're going to look at some more Xenoblade music. This is going to be just my second video on Xenoblade, and we're going back to Xenoblade 1. The recommendation was for the definitive version of this song. I've heard some discussion around whether definitive is actually better or worse for certain songs. I can definitely relate to that situation. For example, I played Persona 3 Reload recently, a game with great music. Some tracks sound way better, and there's some new ones that are amazing. Some of them I actually don't like the remastered version of. And sometimes I love the older sound, or in a much bigger example, stuff like The World Ends With You, that got re-released in the last several years, and like there's just something about the crunchy DS sound that makes the music in that game incredible. To me, the remaster is pretty lacking. I don't actually enjoy hearing those songs with that clarity. They just don't sound the same. So there's a lot of debate that I can support on either direction, and it can really be song for song which one's better, but this one I had a recommendation for definitive edition, so I'm going to try it. And I have absolutely no idea what this piece is. I really don't. It's called Fogbeasts, and maybe that's a theme for a battle or an enemy or a boss, but I'm suspecting it might not be. And I don't know, just the term fog in the name of any kind of piece, like a piece named Clouds or whatever, like Franz Liszt's kind of modernist works, like is sort of gray clouds and just stuff like that. I don't know. It's a very evocative thing in a title, so I have no idea what to expect, but I'm really curious. I literally don't know if this is going to be a low energy piece or a high energy one. But yeah, I'm going to do my thing and just give it a listen. Okay. Oh, shit. Holy shit. Oh my god. I can't even go past 10 seconds on this. I really can't. Jesus. Ah, that is so clever. Like, just throwing in those glissandos and then these just kind of disjointed individual notes on the piano. Out of nowhere, it just keeps changing things. It has these kind of hectic drum rhythms suddenly. Like, I love this. Oh god, I love, like, chaotic music, kind of artsy chaotic music. God damn, that was very impressive. If the whole piece is like this, it's gonna be one of my favorites. I'll listen to this intro again, maybe a couple more times. Let me hear it all. It even starts with these low piano notes, like right here. Doom. Yeah, like my favorite sound in the world is the bass notes on a piano. One singular, very, very deep note, like just the richness of that string. It's my personal favorite sound. Starts with that, you know, has these notes in the violins, but it's what builds after that that's so much better. It just comes with this sweeping glissando, super fast, super energetic sound, just used as a musical element real quick, rather than like structurally in a piano piece. And then it goes into these individual notes and these drums that suddenly add this like kind of wildness. Yeah, it has so many elements I like, and we haven't gotten anywhere. It sounds so good. I love those piano notes. So it brings in some electric guitar, kind of introducing it, probably announcing that the piece is going to have electric guitar. I didn't even realize after some of those disjointed notes in the second glissando, I think, it brings in some just really crunchy chords, like some real dissonant kind of cluster chords, right? Let me hear it again. Maybe a couple of them are pretty crunchy, but I didn't even notice that the first time. Damn, what an intro. Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll try to not make this an hour-long video. Intros are interesting. They're interesting. Yeah, that's not a good pun. All right, let's keep going. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. It's doubling these piano notes and the strings. Different style of the structure here. Oh, it's so good. Oh my god. Damn. What a great piece of music. I just love these energetic, just disjointed piano notes. Some great pieces from Breath of the Wild have a similar thing that I really love. Like a number of them. I'm thinking of like the nighttime horse riding music, but I think there's a couple other pieces that, like with the Guardians maybe, that are very much like kind of just hectic, disjointed notes. I think that just sounds incredible. It's used fantastically here as something introduced as an idea a bit in the intro. Intro is a little bit of an overture to like, here's the elements that are probably going to be in the rest of this music, you know, brings in different parts, and then they come back in the main musical structure. But I love that as just a bass line for this piece. And then it starts doubling these disjointed notes in the strings, which is like really unexpected because it's a very unnatural motion for something like a violin. Like it can do it, but it's very hard. In a way, you could say it's unnatural on the piano too, but there isn't anything actually physically, technique-wise, preventing you from properly playing like a bunch of disjointed notes. It supports it just fine. It's just not that common. But it's much harder with something like a violin. So doubling it just sounds really cool and sounds like something you don't get to hear a lot. And then it does this great kind of descent, sort of descending, more dissonant arpeggios going down, leading to the next section, which sounded incredible. Just because it's such a shift, it's using the same structure, but it's suddenly doing it in these sort of descending chordal shapes in parallel. Man, this is so awesome, so awesome. How am I ever going to get through this? It's fine, I'm having fun. Yeah, they do a little counterpoint, and then here they kind of sync up. A little more sync. Yeah. I love the drums here. A little bit of syncopation. Kind of lightens up, lifts up. Now we're into the real JRPG feel. I love it. A little chromatic descent in the strings. Much more strings forward here. Now we get the electric guitar in the lead. Drums are just going hard and fast, really regular. Some piano detail. Gorgeous little piano detail. It really moved into the background for this section, let the violins kind of have the front, let the electric guitar have the front. Even the drums moved into the background. Up till now, they've had some actually pretty sick like little rhythms or fills or like sort of chaotic patterns here and there that kind of like speed up out of nowhere, which has been really cool, added to that chaos. For these couple sections, both the piano and the drums moved to being more supportive. The drums started just going hard and fast. For a totally different feel. Again, it creates a little more of that classic JRPG like active music feel. Makes me again think of the Ys games. They have kind of a lot of, you know, classic music of this sort of style with electric guitar and drums, very energetic JRPG feel. But this piece is moving in between different feels, and I just love like the supportive piano detailing in the background comes out here and just does these rising arpeggios and then descends all the way down. Which I freaking love. Rachmaninoff's Second Piano Sonata is built entirely on a descending figure. It's one of my favorite things, this sort of descending piano motif. Always love hearing a great descent on the piano. It's kind of obscured, it's a little bit hard to hear, but I'm going to try to catch it again and just hear what the piano's doing here. Yeah, it kind of climbs up with these, and then it goes all the way down. I'm going to catch that again. Up. Yeah. Goes all the way down, goes right into this next piano figuration, but it does like, it almost sounds like it's quite obscured in the mix at that moment, but it almost sounds like it's going with rising arpeggios into a downwards glissando to hit one bass note. It sounds like maybe that's what it's doing. It could also just be like, you know, some quick arpeggios down. Doesn't really matter ultimately, like it's obscured enough that they probably would create a very similar sound, but just awesome. I love hearing that quick descent to that bass note, and that bass note segues perfectly into the next figuration. It might even be the first note of that pattern, so that they overlap perfectly. I think it does some arpeggios down and then glissandos on like the bottom half. I think it's actually a mix, which is even cooler. Man, and the performance on this recording for the keyboard is just excellent. Like, it sounds great, and this is definitely not digital. It's a definitely, well, as somebody who's a connoisseur of, you know, hundreds of thousands of piano recordings, I would say it's extremely human sounding and is performed excellently. But who knows? I mean, digital music composition has come a long way, and I've started learning it, but I'm a far distance from really doing much with it. So I don't know. Maybe you can get piano samples to sound that good. I don't think so, though. I think they usually sound a little bit more robotic. Even if they can be wonderful, you can have incredible sounding pieces that are totally legitimate art, even if you're using digital samples and you focus on the art of composition. But sounds like a real performance to me, and it just makes it a little better. The piano sounds excellent, which really matters to me. What a sick piece. A great suggestion by Metamorph. Let's keep going. I bet there's a lot more in store here, but let's go. Very simple, but it's cool because it's such a different feel. Just adding a little more layers. Yeah, now we're doubling up the melody, some intervals. And you got a little bit just a jazz solo. Hell yeah. Oh, what a great... Hell yeah. Oh, that sounds so great. Can't believe we get just like kind of a freestyle jazz solo in this. Ooh, those bass notes there descending. Another glissando up. Keep this pattern going. Yeah, give me these rhythms. Man. You know, coming out of that freestyle jazz solo on the piano, which has segments that are entirely different styles in it. I feel like there's like 3 or 4 different styles of that solo, which is, you know, not uncommon in somebody soloing. They probably will move throughout styles unless they're really set on one. But it does it really well. There's different feels even within that section where the other instruments, like, they have very few layers. They kind of add another layer or two, but mostly they're letting it solo, which is awesome. And then at the end, it just brings back in that glissando. At some point, it starts like, you know, doing parallel intervals from the single notes, and it just keeps that kind of chaotic pattern up there going even after that glissando. And I'm wondering if that's like potentially multi-track recording. It definitely would be possible to have it be a real recording of somebody playing these individual notes and then sweeping the glissando with their left hand up. That's just quite tricky to do really well, to do perfectly, because like a one-hand glissando with the left hand that kind of reaches, it's just a little bit of an awkward posture. It's usually much easier, like way easier and more standard to like do a glissando going upwards with your right hand. You just have like a better posture with your hand to use versus like sweeping. Like, it's just kind of weird to do it that way. You know, maybe you would do it with the back of your hand like that. There might be ways I'm not thinking of, but that just made me think like, oh, it's continuing this pattern, which is kind of tricky, but definitely you would play with one hand. But like, something I get a lot out of why I'm so passionate about classical piano recordings is that it's a thing you really get to hear kind of one for one how somebody's body is moving. Like, of all the forms of music, that is the form where you get to hear the most directly transcribed thing of human motion of all forms of music, because a piano is just laid out left to right, low to high. You can, when you hear the notes, you know where their fingers are, and you could say that's true for some other instruments, string and wind instruments or whatever, that there is a posture their hands are in to create the sound, and it's obviously like it's still deterministic. To play a certain note on a guitar, you do have to hold, you know, your fingers in a, you know, generally a certain way, but it's less transcriptive of the position of somebody's body. So that's something I get a lot out of, like, I'm a massive fan of comparative listening of recordings, like finding certain individual recordings that are really life-changing for certain pianists. Like, this has been a huge deal for me in my life, just the magic of like how certain people play. And to me, even in the same piece, the way somebody plays, it's like you're getting a transcription of how their body's moving, and the piano is just such a clear instrument that like you can almost listen through the sound to hear where their fingers are, how their hands are moving. So anyways, this is just a side of something I like to talk about that popped into my mind because like I hear the piano as physical motion. So that was a moment that popped up where I was like, oh, I just felt like the awkwardness of that like combination of motions, and was like, huh, maybe that's like multi-track, maybe that's multiple recordings, which would be fine. It sounds awesome. Like, who cares? It doesn't have to be like a legitimate like thing you could play solo on the piano. Or it is, and I would like to see the technique used. It's probably possible. I'm picturing it as awkward, and I could like feel it in my body at that moment, and just brought in this question in my mind. Yeah, it was very cool. Sounded amazing. And then yeah, we come out of this solo section, and can't wait to see what's next. Maybe we'll get a guitar solo. I'm gonna predict. I'll put my money on we're gonna get a guitar solo as well, in a rock style, not a jazz solo. We'll see. Those ascending notes. Love them. It's probably not that hard, I don't know. And I love these hits. Oh yeah, I was gonna say it's like a big band feel after the jazz solo. These hits feel like big band hits, like a jazz big band. Oh, that was so sick! Oh, that was so good, man. Holy shit. Yeah, just this feel of these hits with all the instruments, bum 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 bum, ba bum bum, like this kind of syncopation on some of them. It really reminds me of the writing for a jazz big band, especially coming out of a jazz solo on the piano. Like, that's so cool. At the start of this piece, I would not have predicted like we're gonna get kind of a jazz big band feel at a time, like with a different instrumentation, but you know, some overlap, but kind of the same feel or the same style of writing with different instruments. Like, that's so cool. And then it just does this wonderful, like, two little sections of these rising ascensions with multiple instruments. Just sound amazing, just lifts everything up before transitioning to the next section. And I really just want to hear it again. It's so good. Oh yeah, I didn't go back far enough. That is the new stuff. Let me hear this again. It's like a different harmonic feel there. I feel like it's using these just bright major harmonies that haven't really been used directly, so they stand out, even if they're quite like, they're not complex, but they stand out here in this context because they haven't been used much. They just sound so happy all of a sudden, and we get this just like real pretty little arpeggio up to the top on the piano just to cap it all off, just the icing on the cake. You know, again, it's nothing fancy, but I would almost say it's like cute. Like, it's this section just smiling, and then this cute little arpeggio at the end, almost like it's winking at you. And then we move into a new section. So I'm going to hear this again and move on. A little chromatic rise in the piano there too. Ooh, I like the energy being built by the drums here. I wonder if it's gonna like ascend. String melody front and foremost. Here we go. Is this the guitar solo? Maybe. Not quite. I remember that melodic shape from earlier. More glissandos. Hell yeah. I love these hits. Yeah, just gave us a lot of that. Oh, hell yeah. Get more piano. Yeah, now this stuff is familiar to me from the earlier section, but it just sounds so good. Yes, I love the delay on some of those hits. It's so good. Yes. Oh, it didn't rise again. It only did it once. Okay. Yeah, back to this real classic JRPG feel. Little sweep up in the strings. I don't know if it might have looped, but just enjoying it. I actually don't think so. I think it's just the same section. Yep, same recording on that part. Glissando down to the bass note. Sounds like the same solo. So good. enjoying it now? Yes. Oh, killing it. Killing it. Oh yeah, this melodic figuration is used in a number of points in the song and it just sounds great. Back to these big band hits. Ooh, they kind of mix it up there. Add a little arpeggio there too. There's some new details each time, actually. Now, did they do it again this time? Actually, that is what it was before. Yeah, back to these drums building up. A little chromatic dissension in the strings. I always love that. Get this figuration again in the guitars. Damn, sounds so good. All right, here we are at the end. Well, I don't have to add too much to that. That was, God, I'm not sure yet if I can I curse on these videos? I don't know. Does YouTube detect and be like, you know, wag their finger at me? I actually have no clue because I would love to you know, drop some F-bombs here about how good that piece was. You know, I would love to. I got to figure out if YouTube's cool with that. You know, I don't want it to wreck my videos or you know, if there's people watching who just aren't into that. Or kids watching, then I guess I want to be appropriate. But yeah, I would I would swear like a sailor about how good this piece is. Yeah, final thoughts. I mean, what an awesome piece. Like, it just has a mix of this great piano writing. There's this disjointed chaos. There's these jazz solos. There's all these glissandos and arpeggios that sound really great. It's recorded great. It's great performance. You know, at times it's the classic JRPG kind of energetic instrumentation with sort of the rock band elements, but at sometimes they're used like a jazz big band. And, you know, we have these kind of energetic hits. Sometimes they're very regular, like the part that was closest to the end here that got repeated. And sometimes they're like, you know, more syncopated and give this kind of interest to the rhythm. Sometimes the drums are regular and rock. Sometimes they're kind of jazzy. Sometimes they're a bit chaotic. Man, what a fantastic piece. And I love those, like, the whole thing starts on a low piano note. It has a couple times where it uses the same recording of the section that, you know, builds up the arpeggios, then just kind of arpeggio halfway down, glissandos the rest of the way down to the bottom. God, that sounded incredible. And honestly, I thought this video was longer. I thought it was taking forever to talk about this. But I think I got all my thoughts out. It was a fantastic suggestion. Thank you so much again for this. And I am going to drop this on the playlist, obviously. If you couldn't tell, I liked the music. If you couldn't tell. And I think this is going to go with the other Xenoblade piece under Orchestrated Energy. Xenoblade Chronicles 1. How do I can't fit the term definitive. Let's see. Fogbeasts. I'm just going to do it here. Say definitive. Yeah, that's it for this. Thanks for watching, and yeah, I can't wait to listen to more Xenoblade music. I mean, both pieces so far have been freaking peak, just really good, really good. And, you know, I can definitely see what some commenters have been saying about it being just amazing soundtracks, some of the best in any JRPGs. Like, this is really high quality music. This is just excellent. The mix is great. The instruments are great. Everything sounds really good. The compositions are interesting. There's variety. There's a mix of styles. Like, the actual performances and the instrumental playing is really good. Yeah, I can't wait to listen to more of it. You're going to get a lot of Xenoblade spaced out in videos from me. There's a good, like, you know, 10 categories of things that I'm really into right now from what I've started doing, and I have, you know, great recommendations built up. And for now, I'm just taking a stab at probably, like, you know, 2 of every 3 videos are going to be recommendations focused on, like, ones I think sound really interesting or hitting the same series or games often enough, or ones that multiple people have recommended and have some overlapping recommendations. And then maybe one of every three will be something I'm just exploring on my own. Like I kind of want to do some clear, obscure music before I play the game and spoil it for myself. It seems like people really like the soundtrack, and I think I overheard in a comment that they brought in somebody who'd never done game music before for it, which is really intriguing to me. I really like that idea. It's always really cool to me when people get brought in, like, scouted for their talent when they're not yet experienced. Like, in whatever venue, like, even, like, for example, Brianna White, who does Aerith's voice in the FF7 Remake trilogy, like, you know, just scouted as a content creator with the right voice. She'd never done voice acting before. It was, like, the hardest thing she'd ever worked on in her life, and it was just incredible and perfect. I just love, like, bringing over someone's talent in a different area for them to, like, have a fresh perspective on what they're hired to work on. I think it's really cool, and I kind of heard that for Clear Obscure, so maybe that'll be a thing that I'll check out when, you know, one of every three reactions I do will be like a new one I'm exploring without a recommendation. But yeah, currently I still like can take a stab through different recommendations. I think I have a good like 80 of them built up, so there's too many to get to. So probably, you know, as long as I show that I'm you know, up to keep making videos every day or two for a couple months, then I'm probably going to have to set up a Patreon or some way to have some, you know, system to provide support and to get your suggestions in, just because if I have a couple hundred suggestions, of course I can't get to them. But for now, I'm just thrilled to have recommendations from people. Keep them coming. I'll pick some of them when I can. And I'm actually going to start making some video game music quizzes as well. It's something I've always wanted to make. I feel like that's a really fun avenue for me to share bits of some of my favorite music so that I get to engage with it in a way without necessarily making like a massive analysis video on music I like, which would be cool, but that's challenging, and I'd rather spend that effort reacting to and analyzing music fresh to me. But I think it would be really cool to like, I think I could make some really cool, really fun video game quizzes that have like, you know, layers of difficulty that build up. Like if you ever played Bandle, that's a really fun internet game for guessing music. There's a video game one too, I think, but would love to do it kind of like that, like build up the difficulty, give you some context about like what year the game's from, what platform it's from, let you hear like music from a couple different sections of it as you guess, and just a chance for me to have an excuse to you know, show people, you know, 5-10 seconds of some pieces I really love, just so I can feature them. So yeah, that might be the first like kind of curated video I work on, is some of these music quizzes, and hopefully people enjoy those. So it'll be that in reaction soon. Anyways, yeah, thanks for letting me yap at the end here. Sometimes I just feel like chatting, and the, you know, honestly, the 5 to 10 people at most who ever like see this section, hope you had fun listening to me. You know, your little podcast that you get with these videos. I might even make the chapter just called Yapping. We'll see. Anyways, I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching, and you'll see me in more Xenoblade and more everything else, and have a great day.